One of the key offseason additions was Naji Marshall, and now he's feeling more comfortable on the court. Let's talk about Naji's fit, his role, and how much Luca loves him on the Mavs. On today's One More Thing of Locked On Mavs.
I'm here because I have to be here.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his lightness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm in a recovery here.
Wait. One more thing.
Yeah, we're back for one more thing on this beautiful Wednesday outside here in Dallas, Texas. The weather is starting to get colder, so that's awesome. You are locked on Mavs. It's one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris. Longtime media member covering the Mavs. 10th year covering the Mavs. Let's go. This is fun. It's exciting. And if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment below. You're watching on YouTube. Comment anything, but give me a first impression of Naji Marshall so far this season. Give me something about Naji that you love about him being on the Dallas Mavericks, because that's all I want to talk about today is Naji Marshall. But, if you are a Locked On Mavs subtext insider, then thank you. If you're not that, what are you doing? All right, you got to do this. You got to sign up to be a subtext Locked On Mavs insider. This is where we send all the latest stuff through text message straight to your phone. All right, so it's pretty simple. It's pretty awesome. I was actually looking for the thing to throw up on the overlay. Can't find it right now, but you can find any of our stuff of how you can support the show by scanning the QR code on your screen. This is where you can sign up for our free newsletter, free. All right. People ask us all the time, hey, how can I support the show more? I'm like, you know what? You can sign up for this newsletter. It's free. Sends one email to your inbox a day, just one email. And we really want to be the top team, the top show on the network. So help us do that. Sign up for that free newsletter. You can do all that through scanning the QR code on the bottom of the screen. Let's talk about some Naji Marshall. Mavs lost to the Pacers the other night. Tonight, they play the Chicago Bulls. Naji should have an increased role. So I'm hoping it's a good game too, because it's going to look really weird to have this little one more thing here. And then he sucks on Wednesday night. But I don't think that that's going to happen, because I think Naji is going to play well. He's been playing well for the Mavs. And, man, it's, you go back to this offseason, and they go into the offseason, and for the Mavericks, they're like, hey, our number one priority, I think it was Nico who said, our priority is to bring back Derrick Jones Jr. But at the same time, he was like, hey, I think we were a shooter away from winning the finals and beating Boston. So they go out, and it's like, no matter how much they say that their top priority was to bring back Derrick Jones Jr., it was like, oh, no, your top priority was getting Klay Thompson. Let's be real. And they go get Klay Thompson, which was awesome. And in that process, Derrick Jones Jr. leaves to go to the Clippers. And, it's like, okay, I get it. Love Derrick Jones Jr. here. But they got to figure out their defense, right? We got to figure this out. And if you're just swapping those two out. And so, you heard a little bit. My mic is just slowly falling here. It's not time for the hymns ad yet. Chill out. But we lose Derrick Jones Jr. It's like, well, how are we going to replace that defense? And you heard a couple rumblings that the Mavericks were interested in Naji Marshall. And it's like, dude, people love Naji Marshall. And so then they come to an agreement to bring Naji to Dallas. And I was like, let's go. And we've mentioned this, different times before, but anytime the nerds or the NBA community as a whole on online are like, dude, what an underrated pickup. And it's always a good feeling. And the Mavericks were on the receiving end of that when they get Naji Marshall this past offseason. And I was like, all right, let's go. Let's see how it's going to fit. What roles are you going to have? First few games starts, and it's he's just rusty a little bit, trying to figure out where he fits in. And already seen some tweets early on. I was like, not impressed with Naji. I'm like, dude, chill out. It's just a couple games. And now we're 7 games in, 8 games in, 7 games in. And man, he's looked pretty good the past few games. And that Indiana game was like, oh, little. I mean, I felt pretty familiar with his game, but a little bit of like unfamiliar with the full extent of your game. And one of the things I like to do on these one more things, which are quicker episodes. If you're newer to these, they're like 15, 20 minutes and just kind of quick hitters, one subject. And I like to bring some quotes, some things, maybe behind the scenes a little bit, but some quotes and stuff from the post-game pressers or maybe another media session or something. And, is after the game, he's, Jason Kidd's obviously talking, even though they lost to the Pacers, they're getting questions. Naji talks to the media. Luca gets asked about Naji, which Luca talked about Naji the night before when they beat Orlando also. And Luca said this line about Naji that I thought was awesome. He says this was after the Orlando game, and he's asked about Naji's play, and he says Luka talking about Naji, he is a very complete player, and he's going to keep getting better and better. I think this is one of the things that, like, when you go back and you zoom out and you look at the conversation around the wings, around Luka, and now around Kyrie over the past few years, since Luka has been in the league, you go back year 7 for Luka, and look at the wings that has been around him. And what has been the consistent thing over time? It's like, all right, we need some defense, we need shooting. And then once you had that, so like you look at a guy like you have like Harrison Barnes early on, and then you have like the Dorian Finney-Smiths, Reggie Bullocks. You look at like Tim Hardaway, you look at Josh Green. You just look at some of these guys that they've had on the perimeter around Luka, but let's look at Dorian and Reggie specifically, because the conversation, we love Dorian and Reggie. Come on, Dorian's like arguably my favorite Maverick of all time outside of Derrick, and it's like the whole conversation about that was, how can we take a guy like Dorian and Reggie Bullock and evolve them to where they can handle the ball more, a little bit more playmaking, a little bit more versatility on the wing while still getting the same defense. And it's like, all right, what's that next like level of wing that you could do that? They go out and get a PJ Washington who could do that and more. He's like that type of mold of player. But then you look at a guy like Naji Marshall. And so I didn't even mention Derrick Jones Jr. a while ago. You look at a guy like Naji Marshall and you compare him to Derrick Jones Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway Jr., the list goes on of these wings that they've had around Luka and Kyrie a little bit. Now all of a sudden, and this is why I love this comment from Luka, because Luka says he's a complete player. And that's what they've been missing on the wing for these years, is having a complete wing player, a 3-and-D and more type of player, in Naji Marshall, that a guy who can, yes, he could hit the open shot. He talked about it post game. He's like, yeah, last year was the best year I had in New Orleans of shooting the ball from the 3, and he's looking to improve that. He hits that 3 against Indiana and kisses, to the crowd and stuff. But he can hit the open shot. He can obviously defend his butt off, multiple positions, smaller guys, bigger guys. He can handle the ball. He can pass the ball. Like, those are the two things that, for Mavs fans who never watched Naji before, they're probably like, whoa, what is it? Who is this guy? He can dribble. He can pass, like not just pass, but like a really good passer. Is he, I joked about it on today's podcast with Nick, is he the 3rd best ball handler on the team? Is he the backup point guard? I mean, honestly, they had the ball in his hands so much, and he's very comfortable with it. And I was just really excited about that, and excited about his play. So we're going to take a quick break. This should be just an incredible ad break here. We're going to take a quick break, and then I want to come back. I want to talk about what I want to see more from Naji, and a couple more of the post game quotes, and some conversation around that, if possible. But first, let's take a break.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
All right, here we go. This is going to be awesome. This podcast is brought to you by Hims. Hims. Guys, this is awesome. Guys, sometimes those intimate moments, let's get serious for a second. Sometimes those intimate moments happen spontaneously. We know. Sometimes it's unplanned. And we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom or anywhere else. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you. It's awesome. They can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you the boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with the access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. The process is 100% online, so there's no need to have these uncomfortable doctors visits. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today, hims.com/locked on. That's HIMS.com/locked on for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/locked on. The products mentioned are chewable compound products, which are not approved or verified or safely or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See a website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Guys, that's Hims. This podcast is also brought to you by Built. Let's talk about some Built stuff here. Listen up. Renters, if you are a renter, please feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments. You're like, I don't know how to get out of this endless cycle, this endless loop. I feel like a hamster on a wheel here, just watching your money vanish into thin air. It's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. That's where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with the points on your rent every month. Pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Gosh, build those points up. Go towards a flight, a hotel. 500 plus airlines represented, 700,000 plus hotels and properties. Oh, this is Built right here. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to join built.com/lockedonnba. That's JOINBILT.com/lockedonnba. Make sure you use the URL so that you know we sent you. Join built.com/lockedonnba to start earning points with your rent payments today.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right, that's enough of the music. How great was that ad read? I think that was the most uncomfortable ad read I've ever done in my life. There you go. My face probably got red. I'm sorry, guys. It's okay. All right, let's keep on talking about Naji. So I said this on today's podcast. I'm gonna bring it up one more time. When you look at some of the lineup combinations right now for the Mavericks, obviously we're 7 games in, it's a smaller sample size and all of that. And you look at 3-man combinations right now in 59 minutes that Luca, Kyrie, and Naji Marshall have played on the floor together. They are a +9 with 114 offensive rating and a 104 defensive rating. You could look up some other combinations, whether it's 3-man, 2-man, 4-man. And where Naji is involved, and there's a positive net rating in that because he impacts winning. And yes, I mean, this is when you look at some of these common denominators are like, all right, what's some of our best combinations of players? Bingo, Naji is that. And it's just really simple for me. I want to see Naji on the floor with our 2 best players more. Did that just rhyme? I want to see Naji on the floor with our 2 best players more. All right. I just want to see that happen because it gives him a third ball handler on the floor, and not just that, but a guy who could play defense. And so this is where it gets fascinating for me of who is going to close games, because I thought one of the more interesting things that Jason Kidd said post-game after the Indiana game was this. He was talking about Naji's impact, and he brings in PJ Washington into this. Into his comment, he says, this is Jason Kidd talking about PJ Washington. He said, we have PJ guarding everybody. starters, bench guys. We have to help him out. So rewind back to when they put the roster together. If you listen to any of our podcasts heading into the season, one of the first questions we had was about the defense. And we're like, who's going to guard people outside of PJ Washington? And now we're 7 games into the season, and we're hearing the head coach say that too. Like, dude, we have PJ guarding everybody. We got to help him out, type of thing. And that's true. So I'm really curious of how they like fix that, because it's like they have some players, but what's the combination of players that they put on the floor to defend some of these guys? Whenever you only have one guy out there in PJ, you need somebody in like a Naji Marshall. That's what they had last year, right? They had PJ, Derrick Jones Jr., 2 guys that can play defense on the perimeter. So how did they do that? Maybe leave that in the comments. What would you do? How do you play PJ and Naji together more often? And what's that lineup look like? Because we saw that happen a little bit for Dallas in the Indiana game, because they had to go small because Lively was out. Gafford can't play the whole game. And Jason Kidd watched Dwight Powell play for a handful of minutes and was like, yeah, I'm never going to do that again this game. So he decided to go small in that. And, Naji just said post game, he's like, he's a really quiet guy. All right. And just like, he's the guy that's just like, he's just so chill, at least talking to the media. He's just chill. He's just talking, answering questions. I'm like, but also, like, if I'm sitting there thinking of somebody I would want on my side and like a fight on the court, I'm like, I'm picking Naji right now. But Naji said, he just acknowledged, he's like, I'm just getting more and more comfortable. Like, somebody asked him if he was like surprised in something that happened in a game or something that he did. And he was like, no, I wasn't surprised. I mean, he even said that he goes through, and this is what fans love hearing. Like, we just eat this up like Scooby snacks here. He said he goes to the gym in the morning and at night, 2-a-days during the season. Is that not just like feed the fan right there? Because he just loves it so much. He wants to get better. He's been working on his game for so long. So, yeah, that's Naji Marshall, man. Like, I am, they need Naji's defense. How do they figure that out? Luca loves playing with a guy, and it's cool seeing Luca rave about playing with him. And I'm just fascinated to see what Naji's role looks like moving forward, because he's going to play. I think he's going to get more minutes. We figured that going into the season too, but now we're seeing him feel more comfortable out there. I mean, he was driving the other night and like hitting shots in the paint. I'm like, what is going on here? But love Naji Marshall, love him in Dallas. I think he's going to be a fan favorite this year, and I'm curious to see how Dallas uses him moving forward. Great signing by Nico Harrison and the squad, and bringing Naji to Dallas. That's one more thing. Once again, scan the QR code at the bottom if you want to subscribe to our email newsletter. It's totally free. Or become a Locked On Mavs insider through subtext and get texts and stuff. I actually might do a Q&A today after a couple meetings I have in a little bit. But that's one more thing. We'll be back tonight with the post game after the Mavs beat and I win against the Chicago Bulls. Peace out. Boom. And I always freaking forget there's no music with this outro.